Hey guys, welcome back to D&D. Quick recap of last episode. We took a look around, found some magical items on the Orag, the magical orc caster who we looted and killed, and spent a little bit of time looking around the area, discussing the history of this region, and learning about our guide. So all in all, pretty successful. And we're midway through a long rest now. I'm just going to bed after a couple hours of drinking with Zygon. And I'm going to wake up whoever's next on the watch rotation.
Okay. Yeah, so during Finn's watch, no perception rolls. It is just dead. It's just you, Iden, the camels, and the fire for hours. Like having your conversations. So who's on watch second?
Flint will go next.
Okay. All right, roll me a perception roll. So we'll say that you decided to take watch in the same place as where Finn and Iden were, and you didn't really realize, but this made your dark vision utter shit, and you just don't see anything. But you don't really hear anything either. It seems rather uneventful.
Okay, cool. Next.
All right, who's third?
I will go Belorin.
Okay, roll me perception. So by now the fire has kind of died out, and you're kind of just like in a lull for the most part. But you can just hear the night sounds, and you hear like clattering of almost teeth somewhere in the distance, but it doesn't seem close.
It's fine. Like sometimes I'm a little bit like praying to my god.
Okay.
It's my watch.
It's a good watch.
All right, I'm assuming you guys are doing like 2-hour watches, so that would be one more.
Yeah, so the last would be Fang. With his fancy beer.
That's a fancy beer. All right, roll me perception, Fang.
Dun, dun, dun.
So I will ask, are you going to take watch meditating, or are you going to be actively looking?
No, I'm going to be sort of pacing around. I'm a morning person anyway, so
Okay.
you know, I'm sort
So
of
yeah,
ready
it's
to
it's
go.
yeah. So exactly. So, while you were taking last watch, so it's actually hot as balls out right now. So this is like,
Oh,
like
Oh, right. It
it's
would
like
have been
2 to
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
oh, it's a long
so,
rest,
yeah,
like
so
12
that,
hours?
Yeah. So
Eight.
a long rest is 8 hours.
So wouldn't
and
it
you
be
guys did
11
2
a.m.
hours.
at the end?
So yeah, that does make sense. I wasn't thinking about the whole fire situation since it was.
Still be hot at balls, though, at like 11 in the desert, right?
Yeah, it's
Definitely
getting
getting
hot
there,
by
yeah.
now. So yeah, I would say that it would be like 9 to 11 for your shift. And so yeah, you're walking around and it's hot. You're not wearing any armor, so that doesn't heat you anymore. But you just notice that yeah, it's probably a good idea that you guys aren't walking around in this because it's just draining. Just even doing patrol. But you don't see anything.
All right.
All right. Well, we
So
get
the
up.
long rest is finished. Everyone has all their resources and stuff back, and then we decide to stay in the house and not do anything until nighttime. Yes.
Sure.
So
Is
Finn,
that, is that beer jug off cooldown?
So, Finn, you notice that by the time you woke back up, dawn has broke, and your jug is completely empty again, as if nothing had happened.
I finished it off last night. Of course, it's completely empty.
But it doesn't feel like, even when it was empty, like nothing came out, it still felt like 20 pounds. Now
Yeah.
it feels light again.
Okay. Does that mean, out of character here, does that mean it's reset again? Or does that...
Yes.
Okay. So whenever it feels light again, it's clear to be used again.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
It can make wine also. A gallon of it.
Or
Out of
fresh water.
water.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
the
can
Who
also.
desert.
cares about that?
Yeah.
Can't drink the water.
A
It's not
gallon
healthy.
of wine.
The hydration.
All right.
My favorite is the 2 gallons of mayonnaise. Why would you need 2 gallons of mayonnaise?
I just had the
It's an interesting item.
area from the critical role, but okay.
Okay. So, we're awake.
So, okay. So wait a second. The whole reason why we came down here was to investigate some sort of red phonon anomaly, right?
Yep. Correct.
And
Well, you don't know it's red phonons. You know it's phonons in general, but
okay, right. And so
Yeah.
there was supposed to be like a tiefling, like nomadic band that was around here.
Tribe, yes.
Yep.
We're gonna like maybe talk to them,
That's who we're traveling
But-
to meet. Yep.
Yeah, that's where we want to go.
search
Yes.
for them basically.
Yep.
Okay,
Yes.
but the whole like, what are the chances that this Orog that we killed was the cause of the disturbance? Do we have any way of knowing whether or not the disturbance is over with, or is it
So-
still just
roll everyone. Let's say you guys are having a meeting about this.
Yeah,
you're just, like,
conversation
speaking.
morning. Yeah.
Okay. Everyone roll me investigation, just to kind of put the clues together in your head.
Okay.
Investigation.
Some of us get it. Some of us don't.
So Fang in particular, you're quite like you can kind of just feel phonons around you. Like you're just very naturally adept at feeling shifts in phonons, and this doesn't feel big enough for you. Like this is still obviously blasphemy to you, but it just doesn't feel like that this was a big enough event for it to actually have been what this mission is about. And everyone else, I'll even give this to Flint, even though it was a nat one. The time frame doesn't seem quite right. If this was a recent event and you've been traveling for weeks, it seems very unlikely that this is what you were hired for.
But does it seem in the vein of, I guess there's nothing we're testing against here. We're just talking through and thinking about this. But could, for example, lots of little things like this, for example, maybe a tribe of orcs or orag experimenting with this, cause this type of disturbance as a whole? Is it like a natural imbalance of things being perverted in some way, or is it larger or more different than that? Do we know? We might not. And the answer might just be we have no way of knowing from our limited knowledge, but I don't know that myself.
Yeah, you with those roles, you're not sure.
Okay. So perhaps it is more like this, or things like this, Flint, to your point, that, this does seem in the vein of things that might be disturbances, the unnatural manipulation of phonons, I say. And I kind of, as I say that, look at Fang involuntarily.
So we're still looking for some anomaly, and still the only lead we have is this nomadic tiefling tribe.
Yes.
Yes.
And we still don't have any way of finding them other than randomly looking around.
We have Zygon. What are you talking about? We have a guide.
Yeah,
And
well,
Iden gives you a bro look. Like you guys have been through some stuff recently.
a bro look.
Yeah, just like, yeah.
Yep. I know what you mean. I got bro looked.
Are the Yontis super? They're like half humanoid, right? We think that they're
Some of
somewhat
them are, yeah.
intelligent.
Right.
Hmm.
They are very intelligent, yeah.
Because we have a large building here we could set on fire. That would stir up some excitement from people around us.
Yeah, so
Oh, that's interesting.
you were told by Iden at the very first long rest you guys took that from now on he wouldn't be comfortable with campfires out in the open because it would draw attention to you.
Minus last night's. Or was he just too drunk to realize?
He was too drunk. Yeah, he was too drunk to tell you otherwise.
We sort of established last time that the Yanti at night weren't really a thing because they were cold-blooded, but during the day they were. So if we were going to do something like set the whole building on fire in an attempt to draw Yanti to us, we would have to do that during the day.
Well, we want to draw the tieflings to us, not the Yonti.
I see.
Maybe no, we are not setting the
know if-
building on fire.
They're nomadic. The
Why
Yonti
not?
live around here. The tieflings are
If they
nomadic.
see a huge fire, they will avoid it, not come to it.
I'm kind of with.
They
Flint
might
on
be
this.
curious. They might like send a scout over.
I'm highly against this.
What's wrong with burning this place to the ground?
Lauren, I like you. You're kind of like the devil's advocate for the group. Anytime we suggest an idea, you kind of give us all the reasons why it's a bad idea, and that way we can refine the idea to make it stronger. So I say, not only I like that about you. That's something that really
I
helps.
don't like.
And as you say this, Aiden chips in. He says, "Belorin, I'm with you on this," and he pats you on the back, and he says,
Thank
you.
you.
I think this is a piece of history, and it should be preserved."
All right. Well,
we could burn something near it, like the basilic corpse.
Well, hold up a second.
Well, he's
Aiden-
torn to
Could
pieces.
Aiden
that's-
find any like tracks, or could find the tieflings in any other way? Like, does Aiden, since he's our guide, does he have any way
So,
of finding the tieflings?
As soon as you say that, he'll say, "In sand, no. In a mere hour, any tracks that are nearby get pushed over as the sand shifts. It's very hard to track people in the desert."
Okay, so if you guys don't want to do something like set out some sort of signal for them to hopefully come and want to investigate, then do we have any other potential ideas other than just randomly roaming around in an endless
Well,
desert?
so he gave you the hint last time that because how they choose their new place to settle temporarily is they go on top of hills, on top of these
Right.
big dunes, so that they are not caught in the sandstorms in between dunes.
Right. Okay, I do remember that. But so instead of complete randomness, it would be go from the top of one dune to the top of another dune.
Are we
essentially.
being paid daily or as a lump sum?
As a lump sum.
All right, we better hurry this up then. What are you thinking? I say we burn it all.
Do we have any other alternative?
I second
Other
the
than-
burning idea.
Aiden is very conflicted right now. His buddy.
Is Belorin looking?
Yes, assume Belorin's looking, since we're all talking and having a discussion together.
I look for an angle
Belorin
where I
is
can.
high.
I look for an angle where I can catch Aiden's eye without Belorin seeing it. And I give him a big thumbs up. That's it. That's all I want to do.
I'm sorry, not under my watch.
What's wrong with burning it down?
What's your watch?
No, I'm just curious. Like, what's so special about this place that you don't want
It's not about
to use it to
this place
accomplish our goal?
special. Burning down somebody else's building. That's not cool.
Well,
Aiden
that's
is
in the
still very,
aura.
very pro Belorin right now. This is a place of history. We cannot burn this down.
Well, other than the Orog who was using this place, clearly no one has been here in a long time. So,
Maybe, what do you know?
And blasphemous crimes against nature have just been committed here. We should let the building rest in peace.
Surely we want to cleanse the site of those crimes.
It needs to happen.
Cleanse with fire.
You
perhaps.
want
The
to
red magic
destroy
needs to
the
be
only
consumed.
building in the middle of desert that we know the position of.
I say this before I had no dog in this fight, but now that I understand that as a matter of religion for Fang, his personal beliefs are being compromised by this building being unburned. I feel like I must come down on his side.
Belorin, do you have any other potential idea on what we could do to find the tieflings?
We could yell loudly, I say.
But I would follow what we wanted to do from the start is, according to Aiden, look through the hills.
Okay.
I
I have
didn't-
nothing else, but I'm not fine with fucking setting this building on fire.
All right, Aiden, how long do you think it would take to find the tieflings?
We are within a day's journey at this point. We are deep in old Kyrim by now. We shouldn't have to rest again before we find them.
You mean find their range? I mean, they're nomads. We don't know that they'll be anywhere in this. How big is their range? What type of?
He pulls out his map.
Okay.
And he says, currently, we are smack dab in the middle of Old Kyrim. We know that generally the Shifting City is somewhere on the edge here.
Is the Shifting City just like a name for wherever they're staying, which moves around?
Yes.
Okay. Roughly, do we know roughly how long they stay in one place before they move?
Varies, right?
Like, is it like
It
decades
varies.
or? Okay.
No, it's it's probably a couple weeks. Like that.
Oof.
That's and Aiden says that he says, well, estimating that they move whenever the dunes shift, it takes a couple weeks for the sands to move enough to warrant moving.
So it sounds like they'd be close enough to see some sort of fire.
Yeah. Like it might just be.
I don't know. If Belorin's so against it, I'm fine with just striking out
And
finding another one.
Aiden actually does chip in again, not even just white knighting Belorin. He says, I think it's likely that whether the time that we would save wouldn't be that much. If they find a scout, great, but I think we're gonna find it this nightfall regardless.
I mean, I'll go get a coin if you guys don't want to decide.
Oh, let's carry on. It's fine. I'll acquiesce to the will of the group.
Well, that's the thing, is it's kind of half and half, so that's what I'm saying. If I'll have no problem.
Technically
with the
3-2, yeah, it's technically 3-2, right?
Technically.
Aiden does not have a vote.
Yeah, then it would be 3-1 technically. So.
No, Flint is on the side of let's just.
Oh,
find
okay.
Flint
If-
doesn't have
if
a
we're
vote either, and
leaving-
I count twice.
them.
Fang's okay with that. He's going to spend the day sort of trying to repair the building, though. Very solemn
Okay.
cleansing rituals and things.
Okay. Roll.
What do you do with the basilisk shit?
Well, I am about to find out. I'm about to roll a dice. Maybe I eat it. I don't know.
That is such a good answer.
I'm excited to see this roll, man.
Roll me wisdom at advantage. Just straight wisdom.
Wisdom at advantage.
Nice.
So as you're thinking of the horrible acts that happened here, you think back to your mentor and what he told you about cleansing the wrongdoings of another phonic activity. And you remembering that, you just go through it. You do like your little like word rituals, just kind of like sayings as you clean it, just like I can't think of anything specific, but it's something that your tribe has done whenever they clean this up. Well, he used to be part of an overall monastery,
He rebelled against that monastery, but
then
didn't
he
rebel
left.
against the teachings.
So the teachings are that they grow up in the monastery and then they go and find their own way.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
So he's like a little bird flying for the first time.
Well, I mean, he's been.
Well, we've been flying for a while,
Okay.
for a few levels, so.
He doesn't know how to land.
Right.
So yeah, you do that successfully. So you clean out all the blood and all the guts, and you do your rituals, and it seems that peace has returned to this place.
Good.
I
And I am at peace as well.
I ask about furniture arrangement as he's doing this.
You know, we still could use this as like a base of operations.
It
I know
smells like fucking basilic ass in
We
here.
could just
I don't
go-
want to be
Yeah,
a part
It
of this.
smells a
let me
lot
add-
better now. It smells
Let
a
me
lot
add
better
that
now.
detail. As you were cleaning it, it smelled awful. Like it smelled absolutely like not just like shit, but it smelled like innards toasting in an oven the entire time you're cleaning this.
I didn't like cleanse any of that.
How are
I
you
didn't like
cleansing?
use
Took
a
some
water
bleach.
whip
Bleach.
to.
No, he has soap.
I toss him
do
his
have
bar of
soap.
soap. Here, you look like you need this more than me, I say.
You give him soap. So yeah, I mean, it takes you a couple hours, but you guys had a couple hours, so you cleansed it successfully.
I think I would also like help, like cleaning a little bit and like saying prayers to cleanse this building.
As you're doing this, actually, Belorin, you actually hear just like you're not sure if like it was something in your head, but you just hear a grunt of approval that you think might be Jupiter.
I did it in your name.
Jupiter grunts again with a different sound.
All right.
Okay, so the place got cleaned up some. We stayed here a bunch of hours, basically, essentially kind of wasting time. And because we want to leave at dawn, then dawn gets here, and then dawn arrives, and then we set out.
We don't want to
Cool.
leave at dawn, aren't we? Traveling
Dusk.
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 Dusk, that's what I meant. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
We
So
slept
traveling
through
at night.
dawn. Right.
Okay.
All right. So you guys, are you traveling by camel still? Like.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
The same way.
Okay. All right. So you get on your camel, Finn, and you notice that Finn is still kind of drunk. Like he's a, like he still can't quite walk straight. It seems like the alcohol has stuck with him a little longer than you intended it to.
I pat him
just,
on the
like,
side and
stumbling
say,
into the
"Trooper
sun.
through it. You'll be fine. Walk it off. Walk it off, boy."
All right. Fang Jr. will be making dex saves at disadvantage.
All right.
All right. All right. So you guys continue onwards, and you did not light the building on fire. So you start going from the strategy that you were talking about before. You're going to go to top of dunes and then just keep looking until you find something. So you go towards the nearest one, and it's like these dunes are so big. It's just kind of like gigantic hills. Like it's all uphill, and it's kind of rough, like on your camel since it's uphill on sand. And Fang Jr. especially, he's having a tough time. It's pretty rough going uphill in big sand. And you hear as you're traveling, you just hear Aiden say, "That's the third kind of sand. It's number 3." And he looks over at Belorin.
What?
And he says to Belorin, he says, "Do you know how many kinds of sand are in this continent?"
I don't know. The normal one, the one that we met at the sand pits, I assume. And
5. There's 5.
what are the other?
So
Yeah.
as we're traveling,
So as you're traveling, he gives you a full sand history lesson about how some sand is so fine that you can go through it like water, and how some is very coarse. And he just goes over the whole 9 yards of how sand works and what kind of sand you can find here.
Is it actual type of sand or is just?
Absolutely, I'm not making that up. Yeah, there's different kinds of sand depending on what kind of rock the sand was made out of.
Okay.
And how it was made is also a factor. And he goes over that. He says, like, he talks about how since this is a big, wide open desert here, the sand is very fine because it
I
was.
think these have to be in private messages because I'm pretty
I
sure I was
agree.
not any part of this.
Yep, I agree. Okay, so after we travel for a while, like how long do we travel before like there's some event that happens?
Okay, so you guys travel for about 2 to 3 hours, getting, you've gone to 2 dunes where suddenly, give me a perception roll.
Or suddenly perception. Oh my gosh.
All of us?
Suddenly.
Yes, everybody.
Yeah. Suddenly perception.
Finn can smell it.
Danger! Oh no, that's Fang. Never mind.
That's the little thing.
I thought I smelled basilic again, but
Finn, no one really hears anything, but you can smell sulfur, like burning sulfur.
initially I think it's the camel, but as it persists, I assume something else is on. I call for a stop and I say, Do I know what this would be? Do I have any sense of what it might be?
So, roll me just a basic nature. It won't be hard, but just to see what
not
your general
hard nature roll. Okay.
You feel like that, sulfur isn't really super common in a desert, you feel. So there must be something producing this smell. That's all you know.
So
I
when-
let Zygon know. Sorry, go on.
okay, so that's what I was going to say. Do you let everyone else know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Aiden says, you have a very keen nose, my friend. The only thing I can think of would be a flaming skull.
Flaming skull.
And as
What
you give
the
him that look, Flint, he says, it's a creature, a ghastly creature that roams around at night, chittering with its teeth. A big
Chittering?
green flame that I'm very surprised we haven't seen yet.
And
Okay, so-
it burns sulfur?
It smells like it.
Can we insight to see if he's just talking out of his ass?
Sure, go for it.
Again.
That
Can
explains
other
the
people
sulfur.
who are a little slightly better at insight also
I
roll?
believe him. We have rapport now.
I believe him.
Yeah, roll the insight, anyone. It's not super convincing, but it doesn't seem like he's lying.
All right. Okay, so now that we're all alerted and looking out for a sulfur-smelling green flame skull,
I forgot to actually move you guys to the map. I'm dumb. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
do we see any green flame skull anywhere?
So, so you continue moving, or do you look
Well,
around?
I
We're
spot
gonna
on.
look around.
We are going moving slower.
I say, how dangerous
so it's
are
like-
these? Do we have to stop every time a fucking stinky skull floats by? Really? Like, we're never gonna get anywhere if this is how traveling the desert is. So, what are these creatures like? Is there something we really care about?
He shrugs and he says they're easy to avoid. I mean, you're supposed to be able to see them from quite far off. So the fact
What
that
are
we
they?
haven't seen them.
What kind of creature is an animated skull, anyways? Like, it's
It's
natural.
just like, a pig or a cow or something. There's just,
Do they
animated
breed? Are
green
there little
flame
baby skulls? Do they travel? Is it gonna be like a duck with like its little like ducklings behind it, and all like the little skulls floating around? Like, what is this image? I want to know.
They're. No, I'm gonna let you keep that image. Duckling skulls. That seems great. No, Aiden says that they're haunted spirits. They're undead.
Should we put them down? Are we doing anyone a service putting some haunted spirits down?
Let's
Are we
just
even sure there is one? I'm gonna look over this fucking dune. All right.
So
Right.
okay, you look over the dune, and sure enough, you see two green flames in the distance.
A big one and a little one, or two big ones?
how far?
Two big ones.
How far?
And on top of your dune, probably about 200 feet, 250 feet.
What are they doing? I eyeball them.
They're just kind of like moving across from your range of vision. You just
Floating?
see them moving across. Yes, floating.
Do we have any previous knowledge of are they evil? Do they do evil things? Do they
Roll
go
me.
around killing people or?
Yeah, anyone who wants to know what you know about flaming skulls, roll
Yeah.
nature.
Nature?
Roll what?
Oh my
History?
God, Finn, stop.
Okay.
Is history okay?
I'm not even gonna try.
You can, yeah, sure, history can be fine.
Alright.
But you're gonna get a history-based answer. So Finn, yeah, you know that they are mad. Like they will attack anything in there.
Like insane or
Vicinity.
just like angry?
Yes, absolutely. They are most famous for their angry chittering and laughing as they attack targets or attack foes.
Hyenas.
Let's kill them.
Why would we kill these poor innocent skulls and their little skullings?
I see nothing wrong with them.
Skull.
They're just going about their lives.
Floating around. They
And
smell
with-
a little
with the
bad,
nat-
but
With
who
the nat
doesn't?
20, Finn, you would also know that these are created when a wrongdoing is done and someone curses them, like afterwards. Like they kill them and then in some horrifying way, and then they curse them to keep embodied their skull.
I'm not
Okay.
clear on that. Sorry,
Reasonable
these are-
punishment for a terrible act.
Yeah, pretty much.
So they're almost like victims.
How are they
Well-
victims?
No, they're the criminals.
It could be up to interpretation,
Oh, okay.
but
This is a
basically
very poor way of
they
dealing
are.
with your criminals. You make them into evil floating skulls that just roam the desert killing things. Like that
Right.
doesn't seem like you've helped the situation very much. Oh, we
Does it
remove
make
this.
you
We remove
eager
this
to be
bread thief
A
from our
criminal,
fucking.
Finn?
Removes our.
Does a future as a flaming skull
you
roaming
think
the
it's a
desert
deterrent?
make you want to steal?
I mean,
Well,
my little
so,
skullings and I could be happy
from a
out here.
history, Flint,
He's
from a
happy,
history
then what's
perspective, you know that flaming skulls were made as a punishment. Like that, basically, these souls are they cannot move on. They stay on this plane. They go insane just from living, and that's why they take things out on other people. So this is a punishment.
Who knows that? Who,
You
who
know
knows
that.
the punishment?
Flint, from your history roll,
Right.
Oh,
you've
Flint
heard of
knows.
this done in
Okay.
history.
Okay, well then I would share that with everyone, in whispering because I don't want to alert the flaming skulls, and say maybe they deserve it. So maybe we just let them wallow in their agony.
And do the poor travelers who come behind us, who unbeknownst, to them, stumble
I'll get another
across these,
coin. I'll get
They-
another coin.
Do they deserve it, Flint? I feel like
I'll get a coin. I don't
I feel like
have
Flaming
a
Skull-
preference.
begets Flaming Skull. The next people stumble in, and then this whole thing starts again. Like,
The desert at night is not a place for the weak, Finn.
I don't even know what that means, Fang. Are you saying I'm weak, or the skulls are weak, or everything's weak?
I'm saying that most travelers in the desert at night will be like me, not like you.
Ooh.
They won't have much concern
Those
about the
smell like
flaming
basilic
skulls.
shit? I'm so confused now. I know the sulfur might cover the odor, but you think they'll be okay? Are you saying you think they'll be okay, Fang?
As you sit here arguing
is
about
Finn's
this, the
intelligence?
skulls have already kind of moved on.
Okay, so
I'm
we're
away from
arguing
us.
with each other for a while, and then the skulls are like gone at this point. We're still just arguing about whether we should attack the
I
skulls.
say we fight them. I say
Everyone
after, I
roll me
say
another
after they've
perception.
gone.
Go at it, Finn. Go at it.
Go ahead, buddy. We've got your back.
No, I didn't say that part.
Yeah, that's what Finn says. That's what Finn says.
You mean Flint?
Wait, what's
Yeah.
the perception for?
More perception.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Kinda lost in the conversation.
So as you guys are arguing, Flint is just thinking of the logic, like, do they deserve it? Do they not deserve it? You're not even paying attention. But everyone else, you see the skulls in the distance moving on, but then you hear almost like horse clops in the distance.
Basically,
like horses
everyone other
clomping
than
on pavement in the desert.
Yeah, so it sounds like hooves hitting the sand, as if someone is riding towards you, and you can
Towards
tell
us.
that this sounds like, because it's getting louder. So it's something that you didn't hear before, and now you hear it. So it's
Finn, control your drunken camel.
Okay. I'm looking towards the ground.
I rein
I'm
him in.
watching what is incoming.
How good of a what do you call it? A horseman? What do you call it with a camel? A camelman? What's the equivalent?
Camel
sure.
rider.
Camel rider, sure.
Yeah, but okay, I want my horsemanship, but what's the equivalent for camel?
camel ridermanship.
All right, we'll go with that really clunky use. All right, my camel ridermanship. I would like to see if I can, while
Camelship.
reining my camel in, simultaneously point him assward towards the rest of the party.
Okay,
Okay.
but Belorin is looking towards the
Towards
sound.
the incoming
Okay,
horse
roll
or
me
whatever.
animal handling. It would have been at advantage because you have a rapport by now, but he's drunk, so that takes
Okay.
the advantage away. So I mean, you managed to, you can't get him in a specific direction, but you managed to try to calm him. But he's not stopping in the direction you want him to.
Okay. All right.
So what does Belorin see and/or hear when he tries to look specifically at the sound?
So you can't see very well in your 60 foot of dark vision, but in the distance you can kind of see a cloud of sand being disrupted. Not
From
much
where?
else.
Like what direction?
From ahead of you, where you guys were going to the next
Oh,
dude.
ahead.
So it's coming
Possible
towards us?
sandstorm, or
It's coming from where you guys were going to your next dune.
would I assume it's like some kind of sandstorm incoming?
No,
of course
it's not.
'cause
It's not
the
big.
hooves.
It's
because
but
of
you
the-
hear
Oh,
the
it's
hood.
from the horse, not like some.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, okay,
Could be
okay.
the-
Yeah, it doesn't seem
I
huge.
don't
It's
The
just,
like-
horseman of the apocalypse bringing a
Imagine
sandstorm,
like
though.
what I think of. Okay, I'm still waiting if I see the rider.
okay.
Like directly,
So-
I'm waiting. But if he's still coming our way, I'm like waiting the 60-foot
Okay.
range so I can see him.
Okay. Does anyone else want to do anything before he comes into your range of dark vision?
Are we worried about? Is his path likely to intercept the path of the skulls?
No. Very unlikely.
Okay, then no.
Okay.
So we
So-
still don't know whether or not the hooves are coming directly towards us or are passing by us. We can't
Yes,
tell.
You can't tell. It's coming towards you, but you don't know if it's like towards you or towards your direction. Like in
Okay.
general.
If the hooves were going towards the skulls, would that pass by us?
No, they're gone.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yes and no. Like your general direction from where you're assuming they would be, sort of, but they've already moved on. So like it wouldn't be a direct path. It would be in your general direction now.
And
I'm
our
just gonna let
camels-
them come to us.
Okay.
Our camels are with us right now.
Yes.
Okay, then just wait.
So,
I suppose.
You stay mounted and you guys wait. Just don't move.
Yes.
Okay. So the as you guys are waiting, you saw the flaming skulls move by, and let's get your tokens out here.
It's gonna be a ghost rider.
You guys were meant to make plates while we spent all day hanging out at the house.
Okay.
You
You
meant
guys
to
would
make
be
armor.
You guys would be over here.
Yeah. Why didn't we get
You
armor?
can-
You can't just do that out of nothing. You need like a forge.
Can. You totally can.
Ant lions? I don't know. I doubt you forge it.
So
Anyways.
as it comes into your vision of dark vision, you see the big cloud of sand being disrupted get closer and closer, and then as it goes to the edge of your dark vision, you see it. It's 3 knights and a 4th horse, and they're riding directly towards you.
Type of a knight. Like armored knight?
It's as far as you can tell, yeah, it's an armored knight on a horse. But
On
something
horses. Wow.
But something that seems particularly interesting is that the horse's hooves aren't touching the ground. So it's 3
Huh.
fully armored knights riding towards you, and then a 4th
We
unarmored.
probably only have moments to decide too, because these are charging horses, right?
Yep.
So I don't think we'd have very long to make this decision. So we'll have to rush this decision, guys. I know you guys like to think.
What is
about
that? What is that fourth thing?
It is an unarmored horseman.
Okay.
Have they seen us?
They're riding towards you.
What race are they? Can we tell?
So the 3 in armor are heavily armored enough that it's hard to tell.
Okay.
And the 4th is heavily robed, very obscured.
Do they have any sort of banner or standard that we see?
Yes. So now that you mention it, you see that the last knight, the knight in the back, he is actually holding a large banner with the symbol that you saw on the door of the building you were in before.
The
that you could assume by
the
now with
Empire
your
of the
new
Flowing.
information. Yes.
Ah,
that
it's a
is
boat.
It's a crest of a, the crest of the that empire. Yes.
These
Or
must
kingdom.
be naval units.
I'd like to stand straight up and say, "Ho, sailors!"
they get within about 30-ish feet of you, and the guy in the front, he says, "We are no sailors. Now what are you doing here? This is our territory. Are you intruders? State your business."
We have
I say, yeah, Fang,
cleansed.
state your business.
We have cleansed your house of evil and moved on, seeking the tieflings in this land.
Tieflings? There are no tieflings in this land. This land is conquered by our great king, Xavier. You say there was a great evil in our outpost. What great evil do you speak
Sir
of?
Knight, I hate to interrupt. He did not say great evil. It was at best a minor evil.
I have to ask also for clarification. At this point, the four horsemen have stopped and they're not
Yes.
charging us, right?
Yes,
Do their
they have
horses'
stopped.
feet touch the ground
They're
when they're stopped?
they're floating inches above the ground. And you can tell now that you're close enough, now that you're closer and you can see more details, that they are definitely ethereal. They're you can't tell a race. They're ghostly men.
The horses also. Yes?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, I can see that too, or just
Yep.
Flint?
Yeah, just like you guys withdraw. Aiden has no idea what the fuck's going on, but yeah, you guys can tell from this distance.
All right, this is just me out of character again asking a question. I know of the kind of like the player races of this realm.
Mhm.
It's possible this isn't like ethereal race of some sort. These are ghosts.
Yes.
Okay. Just so I'm 100% clear on that.
Yeah.
So once the riders stop and Flint can get a look at it and realizes that they're ghosts, Flint is going to say something very softly. Yes, spirits from long in the past, still stuck in whatever they were doing when they died. Maybe on some mission in the past. It might be wise to either avoid them or help them with whatever they were trying to do when they died.
I said, okay. I think Fang is in mid-conversation though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
State
I want
your
to
business.
join them. I want to join their order. They seem sweet.
Well,
They're all dead.
I want to hear this how you swing that. So go ahead and roleplay that.
That's interesting.
Yeah. State
We
your
have
business.
cleansed a foul orc and his fire basilisk mistress from your outpost. They spent weeks there in filthy bondage rituals, but we have defeated them and tidied the house as well. Forgive us for our intrusion, but traveling in the desert, we sensed that such a corruption had befallen the home.
Roll me persuasion with advantage.
That was solid.
Absolutely, my lord. Thank you for your service. I did not know that such evil was here in this land. We have been patrolling for weeks, and we had come back towards our outpost to resupply, and I did not know such atrocities were so nearby. I feel like I have failed my kingdom for not exterminating them prior. Thank you. Thank you. Is there anything I can do for you, my lord?
Please tell me more of your order and perhaps how one becomes a part of the Lord's service.
Savior.
Well, you see, this is a mere outpost to our great kingdom near the ocean that was established in a great conquest of different lands, and it is our duty to make sure this territory stays under the control of King Xavier. And if you would like to join us, I would be happy to welcome you into our ranks. Let us go back to the outpost. Let your training begin.
I want to let them down very gently, but I want to tell them I do have a quest that I am bound to at this time.
Honor bound.
Honor bound to. My honor demands that I complete it along with these fine companions of mine.
Lord Fang, I say.
And the camels.
I say.
But I will return to you when I may.
I speak up and I say, Lord Fang, perhaps you could ask these fair knights for some information about the lands we traversed and the dangers we might face, while you have their attention and their aid, their acceptance here.
Yes, has your patrol been peaceful? Have you come across anything of note?
I'm afraid not, my lord. The Yuan-Ti have been even more treacherous as of late. We find more and more clans of them that we exterminate, and no matter how many we bring down, they never seem to fully go down.
Fang, ask them what year it is.
I don't know what year it is.
Okay. Out of character, we would have some semblance of now.
No, he's a hermit. He's been busy for years. He has no idea.
Okay, that's true. That's true. Because he's a hermit. Yeah. Damn, I would be so good at dating them, though.
Well,
Yeah,
I'd like to do a couple things. While Fang's having this conversation, can I notice anything about the style of their armor? Is this modern armor?
No, absolutely not. So it is armor that you, like when you go to bigger cities, this is the kind of armor you see in museums. Like this is like an armor that was very standard for the time, and there have been replicas that you've seen on display.
So does that mean that it's not quite as effective, or it's just a different style?
You can assume that since modern armor no longer has that style, it's not as effective.
Okay.
And what do I know about specters or the ethereal or dead like this? Like this is a very powerful presence in a sense. A lot of the undead are much less formed and corporal than this. So what do I know about this type of creature?
So roll me nature.
I was actually going to ask sort of the same thing. Was what does Flint know? So
Yeah,
can I roll like a history of it also? Specifically, Flint was going to ask. I don't mean to derail what you were saying, Finn, but specifically, Flint was going to ask, like, based on his like previous knowledge, would he be able to date the armor that they're using to a certain time period?
You can roll history for that. Sure.
Okay.
Sure. All right. So Finn, you would know that generally, ethereal undead, they are bound to the plane either by a curse. So either they're forced into it, and such as the flame skulls that you encountered very shortly earlier, or that they are bound by some sort of purpose. There's something in their life that they did not complete, and that they are here until exterminated.
Would they know either of those things?
Nope. They would assume that they are still they are stuck in their duty, whatever their duty was.
They still think they're alive.
They
still think they're alive.
Oh, I understand, but there must be something subjectively, because a man, like if you were alive and you were 10 years of your life had passed, and it was the same, and then 10 more years passed, and then 20.
They don't notice that,
right?
though.
That's what I'm saying. So there must be something that impacts them. So do they just not notice on a day to day, or is it like a short loop style thing of their existence?
Think of it as almost like a time loop. They just keep reliving. Go ahead.
Let's say, for example, that they come directly from their kingdom, wherever their kingdom is. And then their task is to patrol the land and make sure no one is invading on their territory. So you could assume that a loop is, we are going on our mission, we are going on our mission, we are going on our mission, we're back home. And then it starts over. Just over and over again.
Sure, but I guess a lot of soldiers have been sent on patrol, and they aren't bound to the material plane forever and ever for this, right? So
so something happened to them.
Okay.
Yes.
I say to Fang, I say, Lord Fang, perhaps these soldiers are in some need of assistance. There seems to be few of them for a patrol. Where are the rest of their groups? Is everything... Maybe you could ask a little bit more information from them.
I'd
And
like.
real quick,
I
to interrupt you. I'm sorry. Flint, you can date that this style of armor, especially since not only are you very knowledgeable in armor, but this is a decent history roll, that you're just getting a closer look during this conversation, and you're like, oh yes, that was very popular about 400 to 500 years ago. So it's something that happened long enough ago that it's hard to date exactly, but it's that time period.
Gotcha.
So I look to the knights and I say to him, "This is my friend, Lord Finn of the Bottomless Mayonnaise. He is concerned that you may need assistance on your patrols. There are so few of you for so many Yuan-ti, and the desert itself contains many dangers. Is there anything that we can do to help?"
Have you encountered the Yuan-ti? Have you seen their evil?
Has the party ever seen Yuan-ti before now? No. No, we have not.
Our greatest threat to our kingdom in this area is the Yuan-ti. They are relentless. It feels like that we are having almost a war with them over this territory. If you want to help us find the Yuan-ti and exterminate them.
Is it a task that you would accompany us on?
Is it a 4-man task, I say?
We are great warriors. That is why we are such a small but mobile force. None of us have ever fallen in battle. We are that efficient. If you would like to join our ranks, I can train you. However,
None of us have ever fallen in battle either, I point out.
Finn fell like 3 times the last time we
I
fought.
dove in battle.
Every single
That's
turn,
different.
just like, ooh, I'm on the ground. I'm on the ground again.
That's a duck and roll in battle, not a fall.
but he points to his companions. He says, "We have patrolled these lands for 10 years." And obviously that's not true because, it's been much longer than 10 years.
The last
And
500 years.
And we have not lost a single battle. I can teach you, but you will have to join us and join our kingdom.
Fang, that probably might not be that good for your health, but if you can get any more information from them, that would be great. Like, if they knew where the Yuan-tis were at.
To my like outsider hermit monk from a monastery side of my character.
Mm-hmm.
Out of character for a second.
Okay.
It's like, if anyone was going to fall for that, it would probably be Fang.
Yeah, probably.
Well, out of character, joining a group of undead beings usually means becoming undead yourself.
Initiation rite is really quick.
It's in, like, you're going to die. If you're like, let's do it, let's do it.
I want to tell them just tonight we are traveling by night to avoid the Yuan-ti, who are more ferocious during the daylight. They are a constant harrowing force in our quest, and we do wish to rid the region of them. Is there anything that you can teach me right now where we stand? We must move on, but any knowledge you could impart would be greatly appreciated.
Yes, they stay in between the dunes. And he points to the dune you guys are on right now. You just like crested over it. And he points to the crevice that goes to its lowest point, and he says, "There, they hide in the sandstorm. They burrow into the crevice to avoid the sun, or I'm sorry, to avoid the cold, and then come during the day. Generally, we try to lure them out at night with our horses by riding in these crevices and disturbing their rest."
Cool. Are they
I'm
up
not
for that
comfortable with-
tonight?
Go on.
Sounds like fun.
He looks at your camel and he's like, "That is no steed, my lord."
We're not Finn's camel, but the other ones are okay.
Hey, don't you be knocking Fang Jr. This is a camel among camels. A war steed like no other. I say to the undead knights, and I say, your ways are different than our ways. But as you say, we have been alive many more years than 10, and none of us have fallen. So like you, we too must be great warriors. So, I understand these steeds may seem different to you and may seem different than what you're used to. Is Fang Jr. okay, by the way? I know he's been upset all day. He's not, like, right now choosing any moments to be awkwardly gassy or something, right? Because that would really derail this thread a little bit.
Real quick, who's right next to him?
Not me.
I told you,
Actually,
I aimed him.
possibly.
I aimed him at the party earlier.
Yeah, but you failed.
Well, Belorin seems to be right behind Fang, and Flint seems to be right behind Finn.
I'm right up next to Fang. Fang and I are up there because I've gone up
Yeah, I
next to
think
him.
you two are like.
So,
close to each
Fang,
other.
I'm gonna need you to roll me a dex save.
Fang's with me. He would be behind
No.
me. Okay.
Right next.
All right.
So, Fang, as he's making, as Finn is talking to the knights, you see Fang Jr., like, he seems to be drooling, and it seems kind of strange. Camel's drooling, and then all of a sudden just, and he spits at you, and you dodge out of the way. Ugh. And he just kind of drunkenly, like, puts his head back down.
And I incorporate this into my speech saying, like your own steeds, our camels have been trained to war from an early age. They have weapons at their disposal, different, but still as powerful as a trained war horse. They may not kick as hard or ride as fast, but they are foul beasts to be on the opposite side of.
Roll persuasion with advantage.
They drink as hard as we do.
I was not aware of such animal tactics. I apologize. We will let you roam our territory. You have convinced us that your mission is the same as ours. And while I cannot offer for you to join without first training yourself, I will allow you passage.
We thank you for your hospitality in your lands. If when we finish our quest and return back through this way, where might we find you?
He nods his head. He says, "How long are you going to patrol these lands? Where's your destination?"
Our destination leads us through these lands and then back again after. It may be some weeks or maybe even months before we are back this way. Where might we find your base of operations if we wish to come and communicate with you?
Past these mountains, and let's go back to the other map just to show you. Past the mountains of this region, in the in the most finest of sand, and he talks about the fineness of the sand. He talks about the different kinds of the sand. You will find our kingdom near the. Well, I'm trying to think of what would be the best old school way to navigate, but he would say a couple days out, you will find our kingdom. It is great. It is towering, and you simply need to speak our name, and we will welcome you.
Also,
What is your name?
Yeah,
Yeah, he hasn't introduced himself though.
great knights, please. We have shared many words, but we've shared our names and our backgrounds with you. Where do you hail from? Who are you?
Oh, I'm sorry for my rudeness, my lord. I am Zan Softhorn, and I.
Poor guy.
and I hail from the kingdom of Forlin.
Kingdom of
And
Thorn.
these are my I can't even speak anymore. These are my companions. Alkun Strong Breath, Gem Shokrask, and Oven's Son.
And your last member, the quiet one in the back without the armor. Do I go too far to assume that he might have some magical means about him?
Yes. Do not judge us, but she is a witch.
A witch? A native to your lands or these lands?
No, she was trained in our kingdom. You see, we know that these magical arts are highly forbidden in these times, but we practice them anyway to defend ourselves.
What arts do you speak of?
He just kind of winces and he says, I know not much about it, but to many it is a grievous crime. One to be burned at the stake for.
Can he roll persuasion against Fang?
Sure.
That would be so awesome if some undead ghost convinced Fang that, yeah, maybe you should chill out a little.
No, they have to
It's,
convince me not to kill them right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
jeez.
Yeah, roll insight.
Well, he's not... Okay. He's not trying to see if they're lying. He's trying to see if he's swayed by their arguments.
Right.
Well, I rolled a 1 anyway, so like what?
He rolled a natural
Yeah,
one.
that sounds
It's
great.
very sway.
Well,
Ooh.
so here's the thing. He rolled a natural 2, so that was the only way he could have possibly not failed that roll. So that was great. So good job. But yeah, it doesn't seem super convincing to you, but it seems like he is at least trying to talk about some sort of form of respect. Like he knows what
Like they're
his people are
defending
doing.
themselves.
Yeah.
Lord Softhorn, might I spend a moment conversing with your witch about these arts? I worry now about the impact of what you're saying might have on us. Could I have just a moment to converse with her about that?
Do you know nothing of witches?
No.
Witches, they take a vow of silence.
That indeed would make it awkward, Lord Softhorn.
Convenient.
Can I insight check not only the vow of silence, but I'm curious now when he said she was a witch trained in our lands. Can I insight check that
How does she spellcast without
quietly?
It's a good question.
verbal components?
Good question.
She's
Yeah,
nonverbal spells.
he was
Charlatans.
That's a
being
big restriction.
at this point. You guys have been going back and forth on this information for a while, and you can feel a trust from him. Like he trusts you after your various different informations given back and forth, and he is being completely truthful.
Okay, so I have no reason then to believe that this witch is responsible for their curse or their ethereal enslavement here.
Yeah, you would have a hard time knowing exactly what the nature of their magic is. You haven't dated them either. Like only Flint has actually dated when these like what time they're from. So it's very hard for you to determine like what exactly he's talking about. Like it seems very foreign of an idea to you.
Well, I guess on the flip side of that, I would offer that I've seen their ethereal, seen their ghosts, and also recognize their symbols from the symbols of the ancient outposts we passed.
Yes.
So I would think that I wouldn't have too much of a difficulty of understanding. We just literally saw a floating undead skull who is bound to this plane by evil magic as a very kind of salient reminder of how this thing's happening. So, okay. All right. Well, I think it might be time for a break. So, no cliffhangers. But we'll see you guys shortly. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see
There
you
was
in the
a
next part.
slight cliffhanger there. Does Fang kill these people?
Dun, dun, dun.